Everyone, welcome to another edition of the Bolt City Podcast. Dave Palet, Josh Palet, Mario Herron, talking Charger football with you guys as we move forward and we get closer and closer to the start of the 2023 season. You know, guys, the draft was last weekend, but at the same time, people are still giving out draft grades and still have comments about what teams did in the NFL draft. Right now, for us, the thing we're most concerned about, of course, is what the Chargers did. It was a mixed batch as far as this show goes. I was obviously pretty negative. Josh was a little bit on the negative side. I guess unless you give an A, Josh, it's considered negative. But you were, I thought, right in the middle, and Mario gave it a strong B. And at the same time, when we sit there and we look at the guys and you try and figure out different positives for what the Chargers did, because in general, all three of us hope that this draft worked out fantastic. Maybe we just don't know what we're talking about for the guys who are negative on this show. But you're starting to get more and more reviews on the Chargers from outside the Chargers organization. Do the reviews surprise you on what people are saying about Quentin Johnson, especially, and what the Chargers did in the first round?
It's surprising me that people are saying that was a great pick, because going into the draft, a lot of people were saying he wasn't high on their board. I hope he's a great pick because I'm a Chargers fan. I think a lot of people forget that I am a Chargers fan. I'm just being honest. Quentin Johnson could absolutely be a great player, but right now we just don't know. The fact that he's big and he's fast, I like that part of it. A lot of these guys in the NFL draft were smaller, and like Jordan Addison and Zay Flowers, two guys that I really liked a lot. But if you can throw the ball up to him and he can go and get it, and it's not Mike Williams, because everybody knows Mike Williams is the guy that goes up and gets it, then I like the pick. But it's to be seen. Nobody knows right now if the Chargers pick was good or bad.
I agree. Nobody knows, and I think it's fun that we're at the point now where every angle is getting taken. So you're getting every angle. You know, like everything I read, it's a new angle about like this player, a new way to kind of look at it, new way to go about it, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. It's just a new angle. None of this changes the way I feel. It doesn't change. You know, I'm not reading this from the article from the Athletic of people are saying Johnston's a faster Mike Williams. You know, that's not me reading that and I'm going, okay, now it's an A- for a draft grade. I don't watch film on him and go, okay, now this is an A+, a hit all around. I'm staying at the same. And I don't think anything's going to make me change that until we hit training camp, until we hit preseason, until we hit the NFL regular season. Then that's when I'll go, okay, this is when my opinion officially changes. Because right now it's just, hey, we have content to fill until August. Let's take a different angle on this. You know, I just watched this guy play against Marshall University, and hey, he made this catch. Let's spin this into something. Like you got to build content sometimes, and content's being built, which I respect because being in the content business, you got to get busy every now and then. You got to come up with something.
I want to see it work out. I mean, the negatives for me, and again, for people who don't, understand the direction I'm going in. One is I wanted the Chargers to draft somebody that was a starter day one. And everyone is saying, no, this is not a guy who's a starter day one. Two is the negative for me is when they say he catches the ball with his body and not with his hands. Everybody knows you're supposed to catch the ball with your hands. Three is the negative is they say he basically is the alligator arms. He doesn't get extended with his arms. I mean, yeah, he might be a bigger receiver, but he plays like a smaller receiver. All that stuff makes me nervous. The positive is that he has great speed and that he has a great vertical leap. So as you said, if the ball's up there, he's supposed to be able to go out and get it. Not if you aren't catching with your hands. Now you become a pro and you hope the Chargers obviously work on that a lot. I imagine that's all he's going to do is work on his receiving skills. For Justin Herbert, the only thing he cares about, can you create space? Right? We were talking basketball before we came on the show, and we talked about guys getting open and creating their shots. Look, it's all about creating space. As a receiver, it's all about creating space, making the throws easy for Justin Herbert to find that guy. Whoever's open, can he create space? And that's what, for a quarterback, determines if I'm going to go to that guy or not. I hope he steps in and does a great job. I think, Josh, you brought it up last week. The part that scares us about this Charger team is the fact that Mike Williams has been hurt in the past. Keenan Allen has been hurt in the past, that he is going to have to step up and be a guy at some point during the season. If you think those two guys are going to go through 17 games without injuries, you're crazy. He's going to have to step up and grow up, and the team's going to have to depend on him at some point during the season, and probably pretty early, because when you look at traditionally what the Chargers do, guys break down. I mean, no other organization seems to break down more than the Chargers. I know everyone has injuries, but man, it gets frustrating when we talk about it, and we've seen it for years. Anyone who's followed this team for 30 plus years will tell you we have the worst health of any team in the NFL, and it's just what happens. It's just what the Chargers do. So Quentin Johnson needs to grow up fast, needs to be ready to play quickly, and needs to help this team win, which as again, where they are right now, this team, this Charger team is supposed to be a team that makes a run at the Super Bowl.
Yep. Tom Telesco said the Chargers picks were big on production and small on projection. Guess what, buddy? You're 100% right. Quentin Johnson absolutely needs to make an impact this year. If you're a first-round pick, I don't care what team you're drafted by. It could be the Chiefs, the Bills, any of these Eagles, any of these great teams. You got to make an impact if you're going to be a first-round pick. When we're talking about the weak points in this game, Keenan Allen is the best in the business at route running and creating space. If Keenan Allen can take him under his wing, which Keenan Allen seems like he's that type of guy, I think Quentin Johnson can learn a lot from him. Mike Williams is great at extending his arms and high pointing the ball. If he can learn from Mike Williams, I think Quentin Johnson can be in a very good system with guys that are willing to teach him to make him a better player. Is he going to make 5 touchdowns this year? I think he catches 5 touchdowns this year just because Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are on the team. There's going to cause so much distraction over there to those 2 guys that Quentin Johnson's going to get his opportunities and Justin Herbert's going to find him. I'm really excited to see him fit in with this offense because the Chargers haven't had 3 good wide receivers in my entire time of being a Charger fan, and I'm almost 30 years old. Can you guys ever remember the Chargers having 3 really good receivers? Maybe in the 80s before I was born?
No, I remember. It was Mike Williams.
Don't say Malcolm
Allen,
Floyd.
It was Michael Bandy.
That's true. Season.
Let's show him some respect.
Yeah, I think Quentin Johnson. I think we just got to give him time. And I hate watching these workout videos with Zay Flowers. People are saying, "Hey, there's a steal of Zay Flowers right there. Look at him run these routes in shorts." I don't care, man. Anybody can look good in shorts during the offseason. I hate when people try to point towards these workout videos like they mean something. Some guys look great in workout shorts, like linebackers and offensive linemen. And then when they put the pads on, remember that from high school? They're terrible. So don't tell me a guy in shorts is better right now in May than when he's going to be in September.
It's to piggyback off that, Josh. It's ladder drill season. Ladder drill.
Yeah.
You know, that's exactly what it is. There's a social media guy for every NFL team, and what he does is they go, "Hey, you're 20 years old and you're our intern, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna stalk every position as soon as you go to ladder drills." And then which pick we made a little bit of a risk on, you're going to post that one on social media and you're going to say, wow, this was a big hit. The Colts just did that with Irsay, with Josh Downs. Irsay probably didn't even know it happened. It's the most classic move of all time. It's what you do. We're in the season of it. It's great. I do hope for the sake of Quentin that he is really good. I think he can be really good because if not, I mean, the amount of dunking that's going to happen to Charger fans on social media of Zay Flowers turn out to be really good at Jordan Addison. It's gonna be insane. It's not gonna be on the level, but it's gonna be like on a level of Bears fans of how they get absolutely just dumped on, like just shoved in their face, the Trubisky thing, like over and over and over again. For Charger fans and for fans just to have a little something in the back pocket in social media when you're talking crap to other fans, which we don't encourage, but we won't say no. You don't want that to have that card pulled against you. You know, you want to be chilling on that in that department.
Did anything happen in the draft in your mind, guys, to change what you'd predict would be your standings for 2023? Did anybody move? Like, did the Broncos move up? Did the Raiders move up? Did the Chargers move up? Did the Chiefs move down? Did anything happen that you would say, okay, now it's a different division?
I think the AFC West was the most quiet division out of all the divisions during the draft of big time moves.
Yeah. I would agree. There was nothing. The Raiders didn't do anything to me that was insanely killer different. That's also because I don't really believe in the coach. I don't really believe in Jimmy G as a starter. Like, that's fine. And then Mahomes is, look, it doesn't matter who the Chiefs draft. They have the best player in football. It's just, It doesn't matter. Like, they're going to be the team to beat. They're the team that come after us. Broncos put themselves in so far behind the 8 ball with trading and everything that's going on that, you know, it's just kind of like, this is their team. It's not much changes can happen when you sell so many assets to get one quarterback that, you know, prays and thinks he can throw the football anywhere he can't, but turns out he's only good at praying and not throwing.
So all of us are kind of on the same page here as far as what the AFC West is, what it was, and what we see it as today. Let's say we weren't doing a Charger show right now. If we were doing a show that was a Raider show or a Broncos show, are we sitting there saying, "Oh man, we changed spots. We got Jimmy G, or we got a new head coach if we're the Broncos," or are those guys lining themselves right now? Are we that off that I like the Broncos still? I'm not fearful of the Broncos. I'm not fearful of the Raiders. I still see it as a 2-team division. I see it as a Chiefs-Charger division, and the Raiders and the Broncos are just further behind of 2 teams that I don't see contending for a playoff spot. At the same time, if you're a fan of those teams, I mean, it's easy to lie to yourself, but do you think those guys are going, man, we've done enough?
The Raiders defense is so freaking bad. If you go to the Raiders depth chart and look up who's on their defense, it's the who's who of who's who. You have no idea who these people are. It's insane that the Raiders actually have an NFL team, because you look at these guys. I've never heard of this guy in my life. The Broncos, I agree with Mario. The Russell Wilson trade sent them back so far. It's not even funny. I don't really care about the Broncos. I actually think they're worse than the Raiders. And then the Chiefs, they do have some good players. They have some really good players. They have great players. They have obviously Chris Jones and Nick Bolton on defense that are great players. And then they have Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. And that's good enough to give the Chargers tons of headaches. They're still the best team in the AFC West. If you're going to go the best players in the division, the Chargers have most of them. The Chargers roster is absolutely stacked, offense and defense, tons of players that are have Pro Bowl potential. I don't think that Jimmy G's enough of an impact guy to make a huge leap for the Raiders. It does scare me a little bit that he wins everywhere he goes. He's been on great teams, so I know that makes a huge difference. But there is something to be said about Jimmy G and being a winner.
Well, let's see how big of a winner he is without Belichick and Shanahan. I think this can be like the ultimate test of, is he actually a winner? What type of player is he? Every team, I wouldn't say I'm nervous about the Raiders just because of, again, I don't believe in Jimmy G. I know he has Mayer. I know he has Adams, Renfro. Great. I still doubt it. He also had Kittle. Yeah, Josh Jacobs. He also had Debo, Kittle, and who am I missing? BJ. And what? His numbers were still average at best. The Broncos, I feel like, is a team that's not getting a lot of love. That's making me more worried. I think people are forgetting that one of the best offensive minds in history is coaching over there. And Drew Brees had half an arm going into his last 3 years, and they still found out how to win. That worries me a little bit, is what can Peyton maneuver to win? Especially with Sean Payton mind versus a Brandon Staley mind tends to not go our way. Staley tends to fail against a mastermind. So that's the point where I'm a little bit worried about that. If I was on a podcast, I think the number one thing I would dunk on right away is the fact that I would lean hard into that you didn't get Zay Flowers and Jordan Addison. And I would really gas them up. I would so overdo it. I'd probably say Zay Flowers is the next freaking, I don't even know, not Calvin Johnson, can't have his size, but Calvin Johnson level. I'd blow it so out of proportion to get people really pissed off, because that's just fun to do.
All right, so you brought up the coaching with the Broncos, because to me, I agree with you guys. The Broncos are a team I'm not concerned about. I love the situation the Broncos are in. I can't stand the organization. If you'd have ranked the coaches, Andy Reid's obviously one. Where do you rank the next 3 guys?
So funny, dude. Well, Chargers have to be third, right?
Yeah.
I think
third.
Chargers have to be third, and then Sean Payton has to be number 2. Sean Payton and Andy Reid are 2 of the top 5 coaches in the NFL, in my opinion. And then I think there's a huge gap, and then you got the Chargers and Raiders.
But I don't know if the Chargers are 3rd or 4th on that. Yeah, honestly, I don't. I mean, this is the test. This is the test right here for Josh McDaniels. You look at the situation right now and you go, you got your quarterback. You got a guy that says he knows how to run your system. Your system's the system that's supposed to be the thing that made such a difference with Tom Brady and the Patriots. Now, was it Tom Brady? Was it the system? A lot of it had to do with Tom Brady, of course, right? But at the same time, if he's claiming, and this is the reason why the Raiders hired him to begin with, Jimmy G is supposed to go to Las Vegas and win 70% of his games, the way he always has won 70% of his games. Now, if it doesn't work with Jimmy G and the Raiders are the same damn team, then guess what? Josh McDaniels out of a job, right? I mean, then it's a huge mistake. The Raiders messed up. But then for us, I mean, we look at Staley all the time and say, is this his last year? What happens with him? I'm not sure if the Chargers have the 3rd or 4th best coach in this division. It's not too good when it's a 4-team division.
Real quick, what do you think Josh McDaniels' head coaching record is, win-loss?
I know it's. But how about I give you winning percentage? Can I do that? I'm gonna go
Sure.
like 35%.
Mario,
I
do you
guess
want to take a guess?
42.
38%.
Okay, so we're almost right in the middle. So here's the deal. Look at who his quarterbacks were. He had Tim Tebow and he had Carr.
Whoa,
You know,
Tim Tebow. Come on now.
Tim Tebow was terrible. Terrible. Let me tell you, in my lifetime of covering NFL football games and getting there early and watching guys warm up, I've only seen two guys who couldn't complete a pass without people guarding them. All right. First one is Tim Tebow, who literally would spike the ball into the ground 5 yards before receiver's feet and go, "What are you doing?" There's not even a cornerback on him. He was terrible. Tim Tebow is horrible. You know who the second one is, though, which is crazy because he's got a big contract? Geno Smith was terrible. And the third one is Cardell Jones. Terrible.
Cardell Jones.
Okay.
So bad.
Legend.
Dude, I hate to say it. I saw two of them were in charge of uniforms. But, man, before the games, I'm going, you got to be kidding me. Yeah, unbelievable how bad those three guys were, and yet they're wearing NFL uniforms. So I wonder. I don't know how good. I just don't know. This is going to be a huge test. I think the Raiders are one of those storylines you look at to see you're watching a guy coach for his job, and if things fail this year, you're talking about a guy who never gets another head coaching job again. His system doesn't work with anyone outside of Tom Brady.
I mean, hey, if he gets to cheat in these games, he's gonna win. But if he doesn't get to cheat and doesn't get to send someone else to a little practice, then they're not gonna win. Just saying. So if I'll make my new standings. If McDaniels can cheat, he goes up to number 2. But if he doesn't get to cheat, then he's still at number 4. I think Staley's 3 and Peyton, and mountains between Peyton and Andy and Staley and McDaniels.
What do you think, Josh?
Kellen
What do you
Moore's
think the
the third-
Raiders' record? What's the Raiders' record?
Kellen Moore's the
gonna be?
third best coach in the division. How about that? Kellen Moore's the
I
third
agree
best
with.
coach.
You know what?
Is.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah. Here, before we get into this, here's a weird little trivia thing you can talk to your friends about, and you're welcome.
Ooh.
Before I get into this. All right. So, do you guys know about John Carroll University? You aware of John Carroll? The Blue Streaks?
No. No.
Great
That's
school.
Football team.
No.
All right. It's a small school in Pennsylvania, okay? At the
Yeah.
same time, within generally, they're all around the same age. This football team had London Fletcher, Josh McDaniels, Brian Polian, Greg Roman, Tom Telesco, and David Ziegler, the GM of the Raiders, all on the same
That's wild.
football team.
Mm.
That
Wow.
is crazy. That's like 4 GMs and 2 head coaches, I think, right there, all on the same small football team. But I don't trust Josh McDaniels at all. I think just because you're under a great coach, that does not make you a great coach. We see that time and time again. We see it with Nick Saban. We see it with Bill Belichick. I think it's great that you can learn from these people. That doesn't mean that you can do it. I don't trust Josh McDaniels. And to be honest, right now, I don't trust Brandon Staley. There's nothing about Brandon Staley so far where I'd say, I put my trust behind him, considering he's one way his first year where he's going for it on 4th down, and then the next year he's scared. Show me who you are. Give me a personality. I want to know what my coach is. I know what Andy Reid is. He's going to be aggressive. He's going to go for it. I know what Sean Payton is. He's going to be very aggressive. He's going to go for it. Brandon Staley, we go into each game saying, are we going to get aggressive Brandon Staley or non-aggressive Brandon Staley? I just need to know who my coach is because the team reflects your coach's personality.
Yeah, I agree. And what was that school again, real quick? John Carroll?
John Carroll.
John Carroll.
The Blue Streaks.
GMU. GMU. General Manager University. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Do you think Brandon Staley all of a sudden got scared, or do you think he was told by the front office, don't ever do that again? Meaning that, hey, we would have made the playoffs if it wasn't for you going crazy against the Chiefs. Truthfully, they would have made the playoffs. All they needed was one more win, but he got crazy. He's the guy that lost all his money playing roulette. He went nuts. Stop betting on green. He kept betting on green.
Chargers should have lost the Browns game.
Yeah,
Chargers should have lost the
going to
Browns
be a game. But that's a game inside your division, and you couldn't have asked the bet any worse. I was there. You were there, Josh. It was ridiculous. We got in the car, and we were like freaking out. We couldn't believe it. All these little Chiefs fans talking crazy trash to us on the escalator. Remember that?
Yeah. If Donald Parham didn't get knocked out. Yeah.
Yeah. This little girl's like 4'8" in a Chiefs jersey talking mad ass to us. And she's looking back and she doesn't see the escalator. Boom, completely wipes out. Just eats
It's
it.
great.
Did not even put my hand out to help her up. I was like,
She found out.
just yeah. She effed around and found out. I was like, you got it. Shut up. Beat it. Yeah, thanks, Staley. But seriously, it was one game. That was one game. But after that, I'm just feel like the front office told Staley, dude, you aren't doing that next year. Don't get crazy. You know, it's fun when the crowd's telling you go for it and you go for it and you get it until you don't. And then you keep going for it again. I'm gonna make up for it, and you don't. You become a degenerate, you know, and you start chasing mistakes. You know, you've seen those guys, Mario, make a bad pick. Something that guy, dude. We know a guy that bet on the horse that finished sixth, spent way too much money, lost, and then the dumbest guy in the room ends up winning. I mean, come on,
What
I've
an
seen it 100
idiot.
times. Seen it 100 times. Come on, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, what are you gonna do? Sometimes you have to be the degenerate in the room, and when you're that guy, you gotta make sure you know you're that guy. The other thing with Tour Staley, it's like you guys mentioned like the not clock management, the riskiness from first year. It's risky business. It's just this is what we're gonna do. You never know what you're gonna do. The announcer goes, it's 4th and 6 on their own 40. Like, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna go for it? They're probably gonna go for it too. You know, it's 3rd and 8, and they like give up. Not to mention, I think one of the biggest coaching mistakes we haven't mentioned of Staley, not resting his players. Last week, week 17, and it's just Mike Williams gets hurt because our guys played halfway into the 4th quarter. And then they go, oh, we didn't have enough receivers to mix it in. That's what they were saying. Like, we didn't have enough. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Like, put the 4th string running back out there. I don't care. Put the corner out there. Who cares? You're not going to run. Like, who cares if the defense knows you're going to run the ball? Cool. They already know. You're up 2 touchdowns. You got the playoffs. Who cares? And it's just stuff like that that's just absolutely ridiculous. And that's why when people back Staley, like, I get it in the first year, you can make a lot of arguments, but in this year, it's like there was a collar around him, and you couldn't bark anymore. He was just yelping the whole time because he couldn't do it whatever he had to do. Like, it was just ridiculous. That's probably why he won't come on the show.
Yeah, that's probably why. What does he need to do this season to keep his job?
Dave, you want to go first?
I'll tell you right now. Okay, look, I'm going to tell you guys right now. As Mario was talking, and I'm thinking I should be over it. Look, it's May 7th as we recorded this show. And, dude, I am still amazed he still has a job. Like, I still can't believe he's back. Look, you can say whatever you want, that I'm a jerk and man, you aren't positive enough. Look, man, he's a defensive coach that lost to Jacksonville with one of the biggest leads in playoff history. You did not stop Jacksonville on any drive in the second half. As a matter of fact, the last drive of the first half and then every drive in the second half, you did not stop them one time. How does he still have a job?
Joe Lombardi took the fall. Joe Lombardi took the fall. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it did.
That's exactly what happened.
And man,
Joe Lombardi, going to get the defense right? He's like, what?
Yeah, what? I mean, seriously. It is the most insane thing. And I realize it is foolish to sit here to say on May 7th that how are you still upset about it? And I know there are Charger fans sitting there going to write to me underneath in the comments, oh, man, get over it. Dude, I'm not going to get over it. It was right there. It was an underhand toss to you. And guess what? You blew it. I mean, dude, it takes a lot of skill to blow that kind of lead in the playoffs. And yet you managed to have a defensive coach whose defense couldn't stop anything. And I'm still pissed about Marlon McCree. I'm pissed about a lot of things. But, man, this is ridiculous. May 7th, I'm still mad. I'm still mad that the Chargers didn't make a move to say we got to go offensive mind. If you would have hired Kellen Moore as the head coach this year, man, I'd feel a lot better. But right now, I just kind of think, well, why are things going to be different? Seriously. What has Brandon Staley done in the last 5 months to make him a better head coach?
Nothing. The thing that I'm going to remember most about Brandon Staley is going to be him picking up Joey Bosa's helmet just to have Joey Bosa throw it again.
Oh, my God.
That was the most ridiculous.
Oh, my God. It's like
that was unreal.
It's like having a kid having a temper tantrum in the park, and you hand him his Tonka truck as he just gunned it 15 yards away. You tell that kid, go get it. You go get it. Come on.
Holding grudges is underrated. Hold more grudges.
Yeah. You should do that. Yeah.
All right,
Hold
Mario.
Now you guys are sorry you even asked me. Yeah.
Mario, you posed a question about which player you think is going to make an impact going into this year. Who's your pick?
My pick for biggest impact coming in, Darius Davis for me. And there's a couple reasons why. I think Tully is definitely going to be very important for the Chargers. I was going back and forth between Davis and him the most. the reason why I didn't go Tuli is he's just gonna fall in rotations a little bit more. Same with kind of Quinn Johnson in a way where like they're just gonna fall in rotations where they're just not gonna get as much spotlight because of the star players are ahead of them, because of certain alignment, because of certain schemes. It's just not really gonna go his way. Where Davis, for me, he's gonna be our special teams guy. He's gonna be it. And he's fast, he's explosive. He returned 5 punts for touchdowns in just 44 attempts. He averaged 15 yards of return and was a threat every single time he got the ball downfield. I think he's going to be great for us on special teams. I think he's going to be a fun guy to watch. Is he going to be Devin Hester? Probably not. I'm not going to go that high. But I think he's going to be a guy that is going to be a momentum changer for some moments that we need it. When our defense gets stopped and our offense kind of can't really get anything going, we can't get on the other side of the field. And he comes and gets us a 20-yard return, 30-yard return. I think he's going to be really, really big in that aspect. I really like what he brings in terms of that. That's kind of what I'm going with. I think, like when we talked to Eric, he said he would be the starter right away. Eric kind of was mentioned that multiple times. So for me, it's Darius Davis. He's my guy. That thing's got the biggest impact. But don't worry, my man Tui is always going to step up in big moments as well. And I also think Davis could be really big in screens and maybe on that jet sweep that Michael Bandy got this past season. Maybe we actually give it to Davis instead. I was on 4th down in a very key important game.
Forgot about that also. Dave, what do you think?
Look, man, I swear to God, dude, I'm not in a bad mood to start the show. All right. I'm coming off so poorly. I already know on this show. Maybe the comments are getting to me. Dude, come on. Davis. Dude, what are we talking about here? In special teams, look.
I almost went at you when you said Moore would be a better head coach. Okay, that's if you're gonna roast my take, I'm gonna roast yours. Saying
I'm not roasting your take. Okay, I'm not. This is not directed at you. This is directed at the Charge organization for selling us this. He's just a guy, man. He's just a guy. This is him. That's it. That's it. Fair catching all over the place. Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm right here. Oh, there it is. I got it. Just don't drop the fair catch. That's all I'm asking from him. Because he's not going to return jack squat. He's not going to score 1 touchdown this year. Not one. He's not going to score 1. Mario, we got to think of.
You want to bet that?
Yes, I do. I do.
Right, but yeah,
he's not going to score 1 touchdown. You know why? Because he's not going to get an opportunity. Not because he's not good enough. It's just because these punters in the NFL are told you don't outkick the coverage. The punter is an important person on this team. J.K. Scott had a great year last year for the Chargers. Look, the field goal kicking, the punting, field position, all of that is extremely important. The guy that fair catches, as a fan, we all just sit there and go, just don't drop the ball. We aren't thinking get yards after the catch on a punt because nobody gets an opportunity. The Devin Hester, Deion Sanders days are over. Doesn't happen anymore. And to sit there and, but honestly, even a wasted draft pick is ridiculous to me on this position. Now they even set up you kickoff. Nobody even returns kickoffs anymore. And it used to be back in the day, if you kicked it more than 10 yards, it used to be considered like an onside kick where if a guy just ran off the field, you could jump on it and get a touchdown out of it. You don't even have to do that anymore. The guy kicks it, you're like, F it. I'm not returning this. I'm just going to leave the field and the ball's rolling around. That used to be an onside kick. It's not even that. So nothing against what you said, Mario. My point is the position's irrelevant now. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything to me. Tuli's a guy, by the way, to answer your question. What's the bet? We got to come up with a wager. Anything you want to see, Mario?
Instead of the Los Angeles Chargers hat, it's the Mario Bros hat that you have to
wear. Dude, I will.
I like that.
Yeah.
I will. I'll wear whatever you want. I'm not wearing a San Francisco Giants hat or a Cubs hat or anything like that. But yeah, I will.
So that where you have to do a ponytail again.
Oh.
Yeah,
so Mario,
I'll grow my hair.
question...
I tell you what, Mario, I'll grow my hair out for a full year. I won't get a haircut for a year. Is that good enough?
No way.
I mean, yeah, that's like painful to your wife, but sure.
That's all right. Been together
Yeah.
forever.
She doesn't care.
We're gonna lose YouTube subscribers from that.
So
okay,
Mario,
hold on.
Your question?
Hold on. Wait,
Okay,
I gotta have
go.
something back, Josh. If this is a wager, I get to win something too.
Okay.
Okay, that's fair. There you go.
All right, Mario. You have to eat 6 ice cream sandwiches within a 45-minute show.
6 ice cream sandwiches. No,
yeah. I think I have 12 on. What was mine was 10 on what? I just know you're lactose intolerant. I just want to see you suffer. What was mine? I have 10 ice cream sandwiches on one. We had a bet going.
I swear you have to be older than the age of 45 to really indulge in the taste of an ice cream sandwich.
I'm older than 45, but dude, here's the deal. I just discovered ice cream sandwiches, or rediscovered ice cream sandwiches in the last month, and I ate one. I was like, I'm never not having these in the house ever again. But I can't eat 10 at a time. I just want to see you eat 6 in 45 minutes in a 45-minute show.
Oh, that's all right. Deal.
Okay. So if he doesn't return a punt, dude, for a touchdown after the regular season, that first playoff game, you're eating the sandwiches, my friend, on there.
Oh, I'll do that, and then I'll pull my pants down and you can kiss my ass.
Man, this show just turned ugly. Damn. You woke up with Joe's hate this morning. Yeah.
All right, Mario, was the question which rookie is going to make the biggest impact or which player overall in the Chargers?
Just which rookie?
Oh, okay. Thule. I think I said it last year. I think Thule's going to make the biggest impact. I'm going to jump in and say which player I think is going to make the biggest impact compared to last season. And you're going to be confused. I'm going to say it's Zion Johnson. You're going to say, well, Zion Johnson played last year. The difference is Zion Johnson played right guard, which is fine. Now he's going to be playing left guard. Jamari Sawyer is going to play right guard. If you guys don't remember, left guard was the biggest weak spot on the entire team last year. I'm so happy that we have a capable left guard to help us out because, for God's sakes, we could not run the ball to the A gap on the left side. It was ridiculous. I'm so happy that we have a left guard. Matt Filer, I'm sure he's a great guy. I'm glad he's not on the team anymore. So I'm happy about that. Also, I'm looking at the notes, and Mario, you put what the Athletic ranked as the top teams in the AFC, and the top
teams in the NFL.
Are the top teams in the NFL. And they have Chiefs 1, Bengals 2, Eagles 3, Bills 4, and that's fine. I'd probably have something similar. This is the problem if you're a Chargers fan and you're looking at these overall power rankings. Be worried about the Chiefs, okay? Let's win our division first, and then we can look at these other teams. All right, for the time being, we got to beat the Chiefs. It's like when people go on Instagram and they look at, this guy that they want to look like. They want to be all strong. I'm like, dude, why don't you just look better than your friend? Why do you want to look like this guy? You got to look better than your friend first before you can look like a supermodel. So that's the Chargers. Let's beat the Chiefs. Let's focus on our division, and then we can look at the Bengals and the Bills and these other teams. But for the time being, for God's sakes, we got to beat the Chiefs.
I'll go one further on that. We got to sweep the Raiders.
Yes.
Like they're the worst team in the division. Like, you got to sweep the bad teams. Like, that's a huge step. And then split with the Chiefs because there's just no way in hell you're going to sweep the Chiefs and split with the Broncos. Or sweep the Broncos.
Sweep the Broncos.
Yeah, sweep the Broncos. Hell, like, I think that's a huge step too. Is like, stop being satisfied with the split with these teams that you're just better than. But the Chiefs, I understand it. Like, you got to take one. You know you're not going to get both. But for the other ones, you got to sweep. Get ready for a sweep. Sweep them like you're the Cubs beating the Dodgers.
Okay, couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more, man. Here's the deal: you got to sweep the Broncos, got to sweep the Raiders. They never seem to sweep the Raiders, at least in a long time. And when you look at the Chiefs, all right, if you're sitting there talking to Chiefs fans and they're looking at the division, they're like, well, we're going to take 2 from the Chargers, we're going to take 2 from the Broncos, 2 from the Raiders. They aren't thinking about any splits. They're champions. So winners do, man. You think we're going to sit there and dominate? When you look at those top 4 teams that you just mentioned, Chiefs, Bengals, Eagles, Bills, I agree with the top 3 are all very, very good. And I'd rank them ahead of the Chargers too right now. Man, I think the Bills are ready to take a step backwards. And I know it's and I know it's like, well, if you're number 4, who cares? The goals will be number 1. My point is, if you're talking about playoff teams that you think you can get by, I believe they can get by the Bills. I just don't. I think the Bills are that team that I think takes a step backwards this year, and they aren't one of my biggest concerns. I think that division, the way it plays out with Aaron Rodgers and Tua. And the Patriots are going to be a mess. And the Bills, that I think those teams physically just beat the hell out of each other this year. Where don't be surprised, there are a ton of injuries inside that division that I'm not worried about the Chargers going against any team in that division. I know that the Chiefs are the world champions. I got it. But I'm telling them, as a Charger fan, I'm sitting there going, I'm not concerned about the Buffalo Bills this year in 2023. You probably want to mark that tape as they have a parade next week. I just jinxed myself. Go ahead.
So the thing is, I don't really care about the Chargers being in the top 5 because I think it's a very debatable topic. If you're going to say Chargers are top 5, I think that's us being biased. The thing that does bother me is when you start getting in like the 8, 9, 10 range and the Chargers aren't in there, according to The Athletic. So they have Jaguars 5, Niners number 6, the Ravens number 7, Jets number 8, Cowboys 9, Dolphins 10,
Come on.
Seahawks 11, and then you have the Chargers number 12. See, that's my problem. You cannot tell me the Chargers are the 12th best team in the NFL. If you look, and I know nothing's played on paper, if you look at the team on paper, the Chargers are easily a top 8 team if you're looking at the roster, and we have the quarterback. So why are you going to tell me that the Ravens, a team that breaks down just as much as the Chargers, is going to be there? A team like the Jets, nobody knows what they're going to be. A team like the Dolphins, who might not have a quarterback. And then the Cowboys, for God's sakes, just because the Cowboys are on TV every 5 seconds does not mean the Cowboys are actually a good team. That team is not good. And the Chargers are definitely better. And the Chargers took up somebody that they absolutely need in Kellen Moore and brought him over to our side. So you cannot tell me the Chargers are not a top 10 team.
I'm glad you mentioned the Cowboys. I'm glad you guys mentioned the Bills because in these rankings, I thought that was kind of ridiculous. The Bills pass rushing is led by Von Miller, who's 34 years old, coming off a torn ACL. Have fun. Congratulations. Every quarterback's going to have 12 seconds to throw the freaking football. I'm going to get to the Jaguars. I know not a lot of room can talk on this pod what Jaguars have done to us, but putting them at 5, I think you're assuming a lot that Trevor Lawrence is going to take a massive step as quarterback. I think if you think they're the 5th best team in the NFL, then you should go ahead and place a bet on comeback player of the year, Trevor Lawrence. Most improved player, Trevor Lawrence. Maybe even take a freaking MVP ticket if it's that low on the odds. If you think the Jaguars are the 5th best team in the NFL, I think you have to go in hand in hand with that because that's what they're going to need for them to be that good. He's going to need to be that good. The division's going to suck. People are going to think he's better than he actually is.
Yeah.
The division's that bad, but that's just my thing. The Ravens is very, very interesting considering. So it's all fine now. This is like a Disney movie. You know, the two people were enemies, and in the end, they just all best buds, and they're just hanging out, having donuts and coffee together. I don't think that's what's going to happen with the Ravens. Like, there's just no way after all this contract negotiations for the past, year and a half to 2 years, that everything's just fine. How? Oh, and then OBJ is this stud receiver that he's going to come in and help? I freaking doubt it. I absolutely doubt it. The guy's got great hands. Awesome. What else? He hasn't played in over a year. Like, I don't have any confidence in that. You bring in a Georgia offensive coordinator, who Georgia, a very run-heavy team, and then you're a good run team. Congrats. 2nd rushing offense last year, 3rd in defending run, so you can defend the run. But then you suck. I almost cussed. You suck so much at defending the pass and then passing the ball. You're just not very good at it. Like the past 2 years showed it. Then let's get to the America's team real quick because I got a lot of ripping to do on them. Dak Prescott threw 15 interceptions in 12 games last year, and people were screaming that someone else should start instead of him. Mike McCarthy, big boy McCarthy coming in. Big boy, big and dumb. Big dumb boy up on the hill is going to suck. He's going to suck with the play calling. He's going to do a terrible job just like he did with Rodgers and the Packers. It's not going to work well. You're going to lean on your defense. Congratulations, lean on your defense with Parsons that's leading it. It's going to be very, very good, but you're in the hardest division, arguably in the NFL, where you're going to split with everyone and you're going to cause some games that you shouldn't get. Then the last team that have a really big
You're not going to split with the
problem-
Eagles. You're not going to split with the Eagles.
Oh,
You
no,
split
Eagles
the
will
Giants
probably
and then
sweep.
Washington, and that's it.
Yeah. And then finally, the last thing I'll just say, by the way, too, on these rankings is, can anyone honestly look me in the eye and like firmly believe Geno Smith's going to have this good of a year again? Haven't we seen it enough in the NFL? Yeah. Like we've seen the one good year and then it's back to our scheduled programming. You know, like I just don't think he's going to have that big of a jump again. If you're going to put Seahawks from the Chargers, that doesn't make sense to me at all. Chargers are, I think they're a top 10 best team in the NFL. I don't think they should be outside of the top 10. There's not 10 teams out there better than the Chargers going into the year.
All right, so real quick, and be honest here. If you were to switch the two rosters, the Cowboys roster and the Charger roster, where would the Cowboys be ranked?
5, top 5.
Yeah, they'd be top 5.
Yeah.
I agree with Josh. They'd be
Yeah.
top 5. I mean, come on. Everyone's lying to themselves about the Cowboys. They know Cowboys equal ratings. That's all the Cowboys are. They equal ratings. But, man, the roster on the Cowboys isn't impressive. I think the whole Jaguars Trevor Lawrence thing I think is very interesting because the record I think will show for the Jaguars that they look like a premier team in the NFL. But they really have a crazy easy division. They should sweep right through. They should sweep the Texans. They should sweep the Titans. They should sweep the Colts. Doesn't mean they're a good team. You know what I'm saying? They basically have a cakewalk schedule.
Yeah.
The Ravens, for me, as you brought them up, I am curious to see what the Ravens are. To me, they're one of the biggest question marks in the NFL. What are the Baltimore Ravens? You know, the quarterback situation, they now say they've surrounded Lamar Jackson with more weapons than he's ever had before. I'm very curious to see what is the Baltimore Ravens. What is the real team? And if the Ravens are what they think, man, which they think they're a Super Bowl team. People in Baltimore will tell you this team's winning the Super Bowl. It's the best team in the AFC. That's obviously we'll wait and see for all of us as football fans. But I'm for me, that's the biggest question mark. I don't know if where would you put the over under on the win total for the Ravens this year? I'm kind of curious what you guys would say.
8.
That's a hard division.
What did you say, Mario? 8?
8.
8. I would take the over in a
10.
heartbeat on 8. Yeah, I'd go 10,
10
also. 11 seems a little high. I think I'd go 10.
That's the most unpredictable division to me. I have no idea what's going to happen with that division.
You got the Bengals, you got the Steelers. Who anything can happen when they play the Steelers.
I don't know.
I'm kind of curious.
I think that's the two biggest question marks is like what Deshaun Watson you gonna get, and is Kenny take a step? Because if you want to talk about weapons, Kenny's got all the weapons in the freaking world. It's just can two glove buddy put it together.
So to go further into the rankings, the Steelers are right behind the Chargers. They're 14, and then you got the Lions, and then you have the Chargers. So the Lions are 13, and then you got the Steelers at 14. You cannot tell me you trust any of those teams over the Chargers. Kenny Pickett, like you just said, you have no idea what you're going to get. And that division is so tough. I think they're the third best team. And that's saying that you don't know what Deshaun Watson's going to do. Deshaun Watson could very well be Deshaun Watson again and bring them into the playoffs because their team isn't that bad. I don't know. The Chargers always are getting hated on every single season. Nobody thinks a lot of the Chargers. And I understand why. The Chargers haven't done anything. They haven't won a Super Bowl. They lose big games like the ones to the Jaguars. So I understand the hate. Yep. But like you said, Dave, if the Chargers were the Cowboys, they would be a top 5 team because the roster from top to bottom is a top 5 roster in the NFL. The Jaguars are pretenders, by the way. The Jaguars returned their entire offense, and then they add in Calvin Ridley. That Jaguars team is not that good. And Trevor Lawrence needs to throw for a lot more yards and a lot more touchdowns for them to be a Super Bowl contender. But the Chiefs, that's the only team I care about, to be honest. I don't care about the Bengals. I don't care about the Bills or the Jets. I care about the Chiefs. Let's beat the Chiefs. Let's prove to the world that we can beat the Chiefs.
I don't disagree. They're the king of the mountain, right? You got to knock off the team that everyone's aiming for. Everyone's aiming for the Chiefs. The scary thing is if you're a Chiefs hater the way we are, the Chiefs are in a situation where they're supposed to be getting better. I mean, they come off a Super Bowl and they're supposed to be getting better. I mean, the Eagles could say the same thing, that we're just in the Super Bowl and we like our roster better right now. It is interesting to see. Someone wrote in the comments, and look, as goofy as all of us are, nobody ever wishes injury upon anybody. But someone wrote in the comments, man, the Chiefs are just one Travis Kelce injury away from the Chiefs, basically dynasty being over. Yeah, the Chiefs, I believe, are a 2-man organization. If anything happened to Kelce or Mahomes, all of a sudden you're going, that's it for the Chiefs. But when Tyreek Hill was traded away, and everyone thought the Chiefs were taking a step back to rebuild for the future, what did they do? They went and won the Super Bowl the first year without him. Man, those three, meaning Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce, have such an incredible relationship that continues to just breed winning and winning and winning. It's frustrating if you hate the Chiefs. At the same time, you almost have to admire what they're doing in Kansas City.
All right, admired it. Congratulations. Good for them. On to the next thing. Here's a cookie for them. Like, congrats. Have Travis Kelce do another dating show to celebrate.
There's one negative thing. It's that damn dating show. He's doing fine.
That dating show.
He's doing fine. Oh my gosh. There you go. All right. So here we are. Chargers again heading into 2023. It's going to be interesting when everybody shows up for, obviously workouts, get an idea of what's going on, what people talk about with the offense, what happens with, obviously it's going to be nothing but positive news. Kellen Moore has the team doing this. You should see the guys we just drafted. They're doing this. Everything is going to be up and up in positive news. Look, I hope it's all that way and exciting to see what's going to happen. Season's going to be here before we know it. Again, it's May 7th as we sit there and we do this show. We're just a few months away before things get going for real, and we're breaking things down, and people are tired of baseball season and can't wait for the NFL. All of us are excited about the NFL and which way it goes. We love your comments on YouTube, by the way. We appreciate you listening on the Odyssey app and finding out exactly what's going on and tracking us down. For you guys who subscribe, we appreciate that as well. We read every single comment on YouTube. If you want to leave a comment, please go ahead. We appreciate the interaction. But we will be back again this week. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more Charger news for you, breaking things down. Hopefully I'll be a little bit more positive. I apologize for, especially to Mario, for going after Davis and his amazing ability to return punts for touchdowns. That will never happen.
Yeah. And if we reach 100 comments, I'm going to post Dave's phone number on the comments. So you guys can really talk to him.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll take calls.
Shout out to my girlfriend for letting me use her apartment for the studio for the day. That's why you have girlfriends, guys. Not for love, not for anything else. It's so you can start a podcast and make money off it, and then use her apartment when your apartment has no Wi-Fi. That's why you get a girlfriend. So relationship advice 101.
If you didn't have a girlfriend, you'd be doing this from a coffee shop?
Yeah, I'll be doing this in Starbucks. Nice cold brew.
All right, we'll be back in a couple days again. For Josh Palet, Mario Herron, I'm Dave Palet. Thanks again for listening and watching the Bolt City podcast, courtesy of Odyssey Sports.